Peace be with you. I can't believe that there's a need for people like me to talk about the COVID-19 vaccine, but today I read that some politicians, at least in some U.S. states, are still arguing that they should or have the authority to mandate the COVID-19 vaccines onto kids as a prerequisite to attending school. And I think that is absolutely absurd. And even the people who were arguing against that, saying that they don't have that right at that level, were saying that that right should be reserved for local school boards, which is also just as absurd. As a physician, I think that's crazy, especially considering the way COVID-19 and COVID itself were politicized from the beginning. Part of my job as a doctor is risk assessment, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about it and make a case on why only the parents should be allowed to decide this for this particular virus and this particular vaccine. We know a lot about COVID now, and we know what are the risk factors for COVID. We know that advanced age, morbid obesity, pre-existing lung disease, and things of that nature put you at a higher risk of death from COVID or serious complications. We already know that, so people we're able to rank risk as far as COVID is concerned. So where do young, healthy children rate as far as that risk? If we look at the death rates from the beginning of COVID pandemic, in the age range of 0 to 17, we have about 16 or 1700 deaths total, right? For several years. That is probably lower than the rate of drownings per year for that age range group. So probably more kids drown every year than die from COVID. And a lot of these deaths were also kids with pre-existing conditions. So for the most part, COVID is a very, very low risk disease for children. What about the vaccines? What are the risks for the vaccines? So far, the vaccine has been around for only a couple of years, and if you really look at some of the more devastating medications throughout history, it usually takes more than that to really identify potential serious complications, sometimes even 5 years or longer. So there's still a huge potential unknown as far as vaccinating children and even adults. So is the risk of the unknown worth vaccinating the kids, given the known risk of COVID? And I would argue probably not for in most instances unless the children have known risk factors. Of course, there's always going to be those outliers, and some kids may die, but some kids may die from the vaccine as well. Uh, as far as adults, there is, known serious risks from the virus. So in certain classifications of risk for adults, I would say that yes, the vaccine is most certainly worth the risk of the unknown. But in kids, I would certainly argue that that is not the case. So for a politician who may or may not be influenced politically to make that decision is certainly not appropriate at any level, not at a school board level and not at a governor level and not even at a president level. Parents should discuss this matter with their pediatricians and get a correct risk assessment, including the risk of the unknown as far as the vaccine is concerned, and then make that decision. And one certainly cannot argue that this should be done for population level intervention, such as the kids are going to come home and infect their grandparents, who will subsequently die. No, the vaccine has certainly not been proven to be very, very effective in preventing the transmission of the disease. And lastly, over the last year or so, I have certainly seen a decreased mortality and morbidity from this virus, whether that's from genetic shift or drift, and the nature of the virus certainly seems to have changed, or due to widespread immunity because everybody already got it. So that makes it even less urgent to give a vaccine with potential unknown long-term side effects that we're not aware of yet to kids who were at a very low risk from the beginning. And that is just my opinion as a physician. I am aware that people certainly hold a different position, but this is just my risk assessment, and people can check the data themselves and go from there. Peace be with you.